Shalom, and welcome back to B'nai Noach Academy, Thoughts on Life. This will actually serve as a response to some of the comments, some of the inquiries, some of the suggestions that were posted on the class, the thought titled, "Forgiveness, True Forgiveness, Is It at All Possible?" So let me start first with a question that was asked. He says, "I'm confused." I'm quoting. "We have free will, but what we do is because of God." So let me expound a little bit. Yes, indeed, we have free will. Because we have free will, we are responsible for our actions. Actually, to be more correct, we are responsible for our choices. Meaning, the fact that we made a choice, for example, to be angry at someone, to lash out at someone, to do harm to another, that is our responsibility. In other words, we obviously didn't do it because we became these holier than thou servants of God, or that we became suddenly so altruistic and we heard this heavenly voice that told us this person needs to be hurt right now. It's obvious that in the moment that we made the decision to do whatever we did, for example, if we hurt someone else, it is because we we made a decision to do something bad. We were in a bad place, or not such a good point in our lives, and we decided to do it. And therefore, when we come to a better place, we obviously need to do our due diligence in terms of repentance, making amends, asking forgiveness, both from the person and from God against whom we sinned, and so on and so forth. Now, as far as the person that was the recipient, that was unfortunately the victim of your bad choice, of your bad decision, that person, and that was the focus of the class, that person needs to find it in themselves to be able to forgive you. That person needs to find it in themselves to be able to allow you to make amends. In other words, that person needs to have enough faith, enough understanding, appreciation of the fact that what happened to them is not only or not exclusively a direct result of your bad choice. It is because God wanted it to happen to them. You, the person who perpetrated it, made the bad choice, thus becoming God's messenger, just becoming God's tool through which this became effective, this bad, terrible challenge that had to happen to the victim. But the fact that the victim was victimized, that is not your doing. You cannot control another person's fate. You cannot, your free choice cannot control what happens to someone else. That person, obviously, something bad was supposed to happen to them. And the fact is that if you wouldn't have chosen to do what you did, perhaps God has many methods and many ways through which to implement his will. He could have found another way to get this done. And the premise for what I'm explaining here is actually a passage, a statement in the Talmud. The Talmud says, quote, "Whoever gets angry is as if they worshiped idols." In other words, getting angry at someone, getting angry at a situation is tantamount to pagan worship. And the question is, of course, on the simple level, it would seem that what the Talmud is trying to, illustrate, is trying to show, to kind of tell us how abhorrent it is, how terrible it is, how severe it is to get angry, how terrible it is, by likening it, by comparing it to something so severe as to worshiping idols. But we know that even metaphor, even the examples that are given in the Torah, in the Talmud, in the wisdom of the Torah, is exact. It's not just happenstance. This is not just a euphemism. It's not just, kind of by chance, just to show a severity, because it could have said that it's tantamount to murder. Why did it use this particular example? So the Hasidic teachings explain that when one truly believes in God, one truly and absolutely appreciates that everything and anything that happens in the world and everything and anything that happens to them is coming from God, then you can't get angry. Because if you get angry, what does that mean? You're getting angry at the agent. You're getting angry at the person. You're getting angry at the tool that implemented this hardship on you. In other words, that is idol worship. That is the same idea as idol worship. If you look back at the origin of idolatry, they weren't fools. They weren't stupid. They didn't think that some kind of piece of wood or some stone or some metallic object is actually going to save them, is actually going to serve as a deity for them, or even the sun or the moon. They understood that God created the world. However, they believe that there are certain intermediaries that get a say, so to speak, and get to act on as they wish and cause good or the opposite, cause bad to the person or to people or to the world. And that is what I mean. When something happens to me, something actually happened. The fact that it happened is proof that God wanted it to happen to me. The fact that so-and-so did it is that person's bad choice. That is already a separate issue. That person became God's vehicle, so to speak, in order to bring upon that pain or that challenge, however you want to call it, onto me. But as far as it happening to me, that person has no say. That person has no control over my life. How could they? They're not God. Only God can. I hope this helps explain this. And there's going to be another part to explain and to address some of the other comments that were posted on this particular class.